Okay. There we go.
Right.
All right. Welcome, everyone. I'm Kelly.
I'm Kelly.
And I'm April.
And we have a special guest joining us. Her name's Patricia.
Little
Hope
special.
that was okay to say your name.
Patricia, yes, thank you. Thank
Yeah.
you so much.
So we are here and okay, Kelly, are you able to keep track on Facebook? Like have your Facebook open? So if people, okay, just in case people have questions on Facebook and then
Multitasking.
well, you're
It's
good.
technology.
You're really good at it. I mean, I can do it. But
Yeah, so we should
mhm.
be live right now, right?
We should be. It says we're live on our Legendary Living Arts page.
Legendary. Okay.
Yeah, I see me talking.
Switching.
Okay.
I don't know if it's
Legendary Living Arts.
Oh, yes, we got it.
so.
There we are.
But I can't look at Zoom and Facebook at the same time because I get I'm gonna get confused. So
Okay.
I'm just gonna stay on Zoom.
All right. So Kelly will monitor if we have any questions. We were coming live to have a Q&A about the workshop that we're doing here in a couple weeks. And see if
Yeah.
anybody had any
No, that's coming up
questions.
fast.
Yeah,
It's coming up fast all of a sudden.
it is coming up fast. It is not this weekend, the next weekend.
Oh.
Yep.
Right?
I'm very excited.
So not this Sunday, the next Sunday.
Yeah, March 17th. 12 noon Central Standard Time.
So what is so special about this work?
It's 1 p.m. Eastern time. That'll be because you're in Eastern, right, Patricia?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So what is so special about it? Well, it's a special time of year because it's right before the spring equinox. So the equinoxes and the solstices during the year are very powerful times to focus on transformation and change because the seasons are changing. So it's a good time to do that. So that's why we figured let's do one around that time.
So I did the one in December.
Yes, we did.
For the winter solstice, right? Was so now how is that different? What is different, the energy, the meaning versus the winter one?
Well, what does the spring feel like compared to the winter?
It's a rebirth of life, new beginning. It's like more optimistic cycle of the year. Winter was more going into yourself and kind of reflecting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And getting ready. And now, but it's also might be also painful because the growing, pains, right? Is it? No, the change, the new beginning is kind of scary a little bit. It is for me, the unknown of things.
Well, this is why human cultures around the world still have community gatherings and community rituals and events to honor the new stage, the new life coming to the planet. And I mean, this is something that has been honored for hundreds of thousands of years. And yes, I'll say hundreds of thousands of years because we all know that human history is not just the measly 10,000 years that people like to say it is, but
It is, yeah.
But yes, rebirth, deciding which projects, new energy for new projects, new movement forward, new growth. And this is one of the reasons why we have so many stone circles, lines, temples, old buildings that actually align with the rising sun on the solstice, so that everybody, even before we had smartphones, so that everybody, regardless of who you were, would always know when it was a solstice and how close the sun was actually getting to being in alignment with the solstice.
Well, and we tend to get out more in the springtime. Like I know,
Yes.
especially where we
Sure.
live, it gets really cold here and we get a lot of snow sometimes. I don't mind when it's milder to get snow. I'm not a fan of like -50 temperatures, but we didn't really have that this year actually,
No,
which was
we weren't colder than
surprising.
Mars this year, which was great
Yeah.
so far. Cross the fingers.
Yeah, no,
Yeah, we're
cold breaking
colder than
records.
Mars.
Yeah. There was a few years ago, we actually broke
Yeah,
the record here in Manitoba. We were colder than Mars.
yeah, we were like
Like
there were 2 days we were
-69 or something.
-54 and -59 back to back, and it was just like,
Yeah.
nope.
How do you even go out in that?
Don't. You don't. I can remember
Yeah,
my kids were small and we literally just stayed in the house wrapped in blankets with the heat on.
Yeah, that is,
Oh, yeah.
I mean, well, your state would be cold too, Patricia, but I know like in Michigan, we've got to like -20, but nothing like that. That is too cold. I've
Oh, I
always
think
said though that in the winter, I mean, my thing is I've said to my daughters, I'm like, well, if you just look around in the winter, you see people and they're like this, right? And so it is an inward movement. It's an inward movement. It's a time to go in. You've had a whole year of changes, of equinox, of solar positions, all of that. And now it's time to go in and do some reflecting. It's time to look at yourself and then see, are there some spaces that need to be healed? What changes do I want to make? That was the purpose of the winter one that we held, to go in and do that. And then to help you with some of that healing so that you're not doing it by yourself, that you do have a support system, right? And now that spring is coming, to me, it's so exciting. I'm so happy. I just love it. It feels like everything just wants to come up and to come out and to bloom and to blossom, right? All
Mhm.
those things that you've been looking at during the winter when, we are not as active, and looking at the things that just, even things you desire or want, and how can we help you with that. But one of the big things that we find is some common things that get in the way, and that's another thing that this workshop is going to focus on is, you have these desires, you have these dreams, you want to create, you want to manifest these certain things in your life, but our shadow will get in the way, our egos get in the way, our mind gets in our way, and we tend to separate all these things. And while they do have their own components, it's actually about integration. So our focus is helping you to not be afraid, to help you face these things, and then also to help you integrate them with your mind, your soul, and your body. The body is the vehicle on this earth, this dimension, the vehicle, and we need to learn how to use the vehicle. Part of the vehicle has emotions, which tends to be, right? Because you said, I'm afraid. That's an emotion. Our thing is, well, let us teach you how to cope with that emotion, how to integrate that emotion, how to move it through the body, therefore then create these things that you are blossoming inside that you want. Does it all
that's
make sense?
amazing. Yeah, that's exactly what happens. And
Yeah.
also anything about, you know, experiencing like tiredness
Oh, yeah, yeah.
because even though yes, you're excited about sun and everything, but I feel like tired this time of the year too. It's like almost the lack of sun through the
It
Yep.
is
winter.
lack
Yep.
of sun.
Yeah.
It's kind of
But I think it's also, I know maybe you guys can want to hit on it. It's almost like a recalibration. So we're in winter, we're in slow down mode. So you guys want to talk about
Sure. Like
the,
just even to talk physiologically about winter, like
yeah,
actually I was I forget what it was. I was listening to somebody talking about how if you live in different parts of the world where you get sunlight differently, like for us, right, it's a lot darker, like here in the northern hemisphere, but in Manitoba specifically, that it's you actually in the spring and the summer and the fall, if you're outside a lot, you're actually collecting a lot of sunlight to use over the winter. So even though like people have what the, the seasonal affective disorder, like we don't get enough sunlight, but a lot of it's like you can mitigate some of that with even just like if you have a window that doesn't have any UVA, like the screen on it, or the filter, you can sit and like absorb the sunlight through your face, or just if you can go outside for 10 minutes and you can do that. But there's also, I mean, you can buy red light therapy and there's other like infrared therapy because it's really about keeping that radiant heat like going in your body, even though it's cold outside. And then actually during the spring and the other months when you can actually be outside, you are actually collecting that sunlight to be able to use it
Yep.
for the winter months. If you live in that part of the world, like us. So when I was listening to that, I was like, wow, that's amazing because so our bodies, like this is my point, is that our bodies are such an amazing tool. We just don't know how to use them. And our jobs, like if you are working full time, like in the summer, you're probably not getting enough sunlight
Right.
because we're inside all day when actually where we live, technically we need to be outside more, right? But it's important if you can go out first thing in the morning and get the direct, like the sunrise and the sunset are really important for the human body. So yeah, that's why I enjoy spring because it's like we had a snowstorm this past week and it was really slippery. And today it was nice enough that it started melting again. And I was like, woohoo, it's nice outside. So I was like, I just stand outside and feel the sun on my face.
Mhm.
There was a taste of spring here in New York on Saturday. It was sunny and 60, or maybe Sunday, I think, 66 degrees.
Wow.
Yep. But
Nice.
Monday it was raining and it went down to like 40s, but still that it was crazy. People were walking already in short sleeves.
Or yeah, for March in New York City this time of year, that's a really nice date. Wow.
Yeah,
Flip flops and shorts.
we had the same thing here in Michigan last week. We had a couple days where it was 66, 67 degrees. It was very warm, very warm. It was very nice. It actually, this is um, patterns repeat themselves. Everything's a fractal and patterns do repeat themselves. I do remember it was approximately actually about 14 years ago. I remember in March that it was very warm because it was warm enough for my 2 and 3-year-old to go in the sprinkler,
Oh,
and it was March. And
Wow.
that's how I remember it because it was that warm. Yeah. So, these patterns kind of repeat, but as we do change and we move positions and also the Schumann resonance that bounces the solar flares that bounce off, those will make us tired as well. And then, like Kellie had mentioned before we started, being a portal of 333
hmm hmm
on Sunday, these kinds of things can also make you tired. If your body, it's a lot of energy and the body absorbs, it's always absorbing, taking on these energies. So that's why one of the big things that we usually talk about is how to incorporate this into the body. Because
hmm
again, this is your vehicle. This is the thing that's absorbing all that extra energy, right?
So the
So
workshop will be one about the physical body and then about the emotions and how to
it's going to
energy,
be
energy.
Integrate. How to
mm,
integrate.
Yeah.
going to be about self-awareness. So self-awareness, right, which is being aware of your thoughts, your feelings, your emotion, being aware of your body, what your body telling you, what is it saying to you. So that's one of the big things. And then when we look at awareness, then we always want to look at what is our mind doing, what's our mind telling us. That brings up your shadow, things that you have to deal with. Do you have negative thoughts? Do you have negative beliefs? Is your shadow trying to sabotage you from moving forward with these things that you want to create in your life? So it's not just about the physical, but then, um, we really wanted to give you, how does that look in the body? How does it feel? So how will you know? How
Yeah.
will you know that this is your shadow? How will you know that, you're having some anxiety and then you're having some tiredness, or how will you know? And that's within the body. But then we really want to give you some practical tools to use
To
every day.
change the
Yes.
state.
Yes.
Yeah. Because we want to teach about conscious co-creation. So in every single moment, you're co-creating your
Mhm.
reality and you have the ability to change it. However, we don't understand that the quality of what we are putting into it affects the quality of the outcome. And if we don't understand like the quality that we're putting into it, that's usually because we have, fears or anxiety or something that we haven't addressed. So you might be able to manifest something or create something, but maybe it doesn't look like or last the way that you thought it would because we don't really have like the purity of the thought that goes into it because our thoughts are just going, going, going.
And have to
So
go
we
deeper and
create out of
deeper.
fear.
Yes.
Yeah. Hmm.
I've done that. I've done that. I lied to myself. Oh, I'm here. I'm happy. I want to create this and that. And then something completely different. Like example, I was really wanted last year I was visualizing something with palm trees, like I don't know why I bought the calendar and something. Maybe I was wanting vacation, on the beach somewhere exotic, and I just did the printing. I did the calendar, like magnet calendar for the company I used to work for, with top of was a picture with palm trees. It's like, oh, okay, so that was I supposed to manifest? No, I really wanted to go to the beach, not necessarily just manifest a magnet with a picture of palm tree.
Well, I'm going to say you did that though. Like the fact that you even got the picture, I mean, that is still an accomplishment. It's not exactly where you wanted to go. I'm
But also
Samar's
maybe it wasn't time to go yet.
yeah.
Yep.
Samar's asking how to get in, so I'm messaging
Oh,
her if I seem a little distracted.
no, that's okay.
Um
She want to be on the Zoom call or okay.
yeah, I just gave her the link. So I mean, I would say, Patricia, yeah, it's not the actual coastline beach, but you still did it. You still did it. You still manifested. It wasn't exactly what you want, right? But you still were able to manifest.
See,
So
this is why
that's
understanding the quality of our intention is so important,
yeah.
because the quality of our intention is measured by the quality of the stories that give rise to our motivation and our desire to experience something. And if those stories are based in trauma, then we're going to be able to manifest, because usually trauma based stories are quite powerful emotionally, and we can use them to manifest something, but it will reflect the trauma. So, actually, being able to tap into the filter that our body actually is, being able to listen to our body, is literally the primary key ingredient to manifesting from the heart without manifesting from trauma.
Mhm.
So this is why actually being able to feel the body and having tools for the body to be able to listen and work with the body is actually the key to real manifestation, real creation, conscious participation in creating a new story for ourselves that is not trauma based. And pretty much everybody out there doesn't get it. I'm just going to put that out there.
Mhm.
There's no
Yeah,
book out there right now on this,
that's
actually using the
incredible.
body properly. There's bits and pieces everywhere.
Yeah, yeah. There's a lot of pieces.
There
So
are a lot of pieces out
that's
there.
why the three of us like working together because we're bringing a lot of pieces together and we're going, oh, wait a
Yes.
minute. There's
Yep.
some, there's this puzzle and there's some pieces missing over there. We're gonna,
Yeah.
which is
Yeah.
awesome. Like I love our conversations.
Yeah,
And
it's quite
like,
fun.
yeah,
So,
I love listening
you know
to
what?
your conversation.
Yeah,
well,
I,
we were talking about, we should just go on and just have some conversations. And
Yeah.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
that's what we decided to do.
it gets kind of funny.
I'll use myself in this example because this happened to me yesterday where I had something come up. Kelly was explaining something to me and I started to feel ill and I was like, oh my God, I feel really anxious. I don't like this conversation. What the heck is happening to me? Like, okay, and what's come up for me in the last couple of days, which is really interesting because I am a feeling person. But there are some things that I don't have a point of reference for feeling wise, and I'm learning how to actually feel like what that is. So, for example, like when I grew up, I didn't necessarily have anybody in my life that asked me, what do you want to be when you grow up? So I never
Mm.
had dreams. Like I didn't dream of being anything, really. There were just things that I wanted to do, and I figured out how to do them. And then I realized that there's some things where the block that I have is because I don't know what certain things feel like. So it's very hard for me to then manifest them because I'm like, well, I don't know what that feels like. And I haven't allowed myself to dream and to go, this is how I would feel if I had this because I'm a very what's the word? Literal. That's my it's a coping mechanism. So I have to like really take that filter off sometimes because it's just such a habit. So I get very literal and that's my problem.
Mhm.
So we
So
all have things to work on sometimes.
I
like
Hey,
mean,
Samar.
hey,
Hi,
Simone.
Tamara.
the
So
imagination piece, right? Is
Oh, I
not
can imagine a lot of things, but it's the feeling part. And I went, oh, there's a piece for me, a little bridge I have to make.
and our
I'm
imagination will also
making
be
it right now.
limited or expanded by our stories. And one of the things about actually working with the body is like when you actually work with the body, you will bring all of your stories to the surface
Mhm.
so that you can observe them and view them as they are with that focus and concentration of being focused on your body. So when those stories come up, you can observe them instead of getting pulled into them. They'll come up and you can observe them. This is why having a physical discipline is so important. Even if it's going for walks, something so simple. It's one of the reasons why walking is so good for you because you move like if you've like even a 5-10 minute walk can totally clear your system because you're engaging the blood flow and you're engaging the largest fluid pump in your body, your Achilles tendon, which moves anything that's gotten stagnant during the day. Even if you're just walking up and down, like pacing is not necessarily pacing because people who pace often have an unconscious understanding that they need to move to get things moving inside of them.
Yeah,
And
to
while it
reduce
can be a nervous
agitation.
thing,
Yeah, to reduce agitation too.
yes, to reduce agitation because they know they're agitated. Pacing, then the reason why pacing bothers some people is because the people that get bothered by other people pacing know that they should be doing something similar
Mm.
Mm.
and they judge because that's the immediate thing. Oh, your body, like you're distracting me. It's like, no, what you're being distracted by is your ego judgment that's coming from your fear-based programming in your head to judge what the other person is doing. The other person isn't distracting you, you're distracting yourself. Because the other person has an immediate unconscious understanding of what they need to do to go back and forth to get all the agitation out so they don't like are running around like a gerbil in a in gerbil wheel or a hamster in a hamster wheel. They
So
get
what
it.
happens if your body is you're going for a walk, right? And you want to work through it, but your head is just bringing all the thoughts that are just past. So you're getting, then you come back. It's like, oh, what happened? I didn't even know when I was walking. It kind of was happening. So
Yeah,
then
you can't.
that's not good, right? That doesn't.
No, it's a learning experience. It's not good or bad. That's the moment that you observe when you realize you went for the walk and your mind was running amok. It was
Yeah.
that you're chasing your tail with your mental stories.
I always find if I
That,
go for a longer walk, see, the more physical you do and the more tired you are physically, your brain can't take over.
that's right.
I don't know if anyone else has noticed that.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yep.
for sure.
That's happened to me where I'll go for a walk and I'm like, I think I need a longer walk.
Exactly. Which is why like meditation is good. Like sitting meditation is good to a point, because there gets a point where sitting meditation you need to move, because you can build up a lot of energy, and that can be a lot of mental control or a lot of mental um, focus, but you need to integrate it into the body. So you need to get up and move. And this is literally in the traditional Zen training, you will actually have rest periods where you get up and you actually walk around the Zendo, where you actually walk around looking at your feet. So you literally pull your awareness from sitting and being in your head and quote unquote thinking, and being in your body and focusing on your feet.
That is
And
true. Like the training that I'm doing right now with the Zainen Qigong, there is a portion where we are sitting, but then there is a second half where we stand and we have to do certain movements as the meditation continues, but it's to move the meditation, the energy through the body,
Yes.
right? That
Yep.
so what he's saying is true. That's because you always want to move it through the body, because again, the body is your vehicle. We don't want to always be up in the head. We don't want to always be up here, and that's part of the workshop, is noticing that you're up there, noticing those thoughts. And the other thing too is, while you might want to just sit and be lazy and then your thoughts are going to take you over, um, there's a point where you have to realize that you are in charge of the body. You are in charge of the mind. The mind is not in charge of you unless you let it be. The body's not actually in charge of you either, right? So this is where Kelly will use the word discipline and things like that. But it's really like you have to realize that you are the one that is in charge. Why? Because you want to be well, because
Yep.
you want to have peace, because you want to be, whatever it is that the word is that you're looking for. Some people will say joy, some people will say peace, some people will say calm, but you are the one that's in charge of the body,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah.
Right now, many people are actually victim to their mind and to their body. So our goal is to help you realize that you're not. It's not so hard either. We don't want you to run a marathon,
Nope.
but we also don't want you to be a prisoner of your mind, of your false beliefs, of your shadow. Right?
so is it that post that Kelly put today with the certain stands, right?
Standing stake.
Yep.
Yes, that was the river, right? Something about the
Yep.
Oh,
stream.
that one. Yeah, I think it was wading through the shallow stream or something.
Yes,
That one. Yeah.
something like
Yeah.
that was incredible. So when I was reading, and he said, "Well, try it for a minute and then another minute." It reminded me of the post. I also saw something about middle of the brain has that center for will, that
Hmm.
willpower. If we do something we don't want to do, like if we actually make us that, okay, next, I don't want to do it for, but you got to do it. Then these people that actually train that will center, apparently they live longer because it's the will to live almost like
Yeah.
in there. It's so incredible because sometimes you say, oh, your body wants to rest, so just sleep a little longer or whatever. So it's like you have to choose when you allow yourself to be a little lazy and get that rest you need, and when it's like, no, you got to get up if you want to have this going. And yeah, your body's like, no, 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 5 more minutes. Nope, got to get
Yep.
up.
Well, it's about listening to your body too, because and learning to listen to the body, learning to actually listen to it, because there are times where your body is tired and your mind is tired and you do need to rest and you don't need to push yourself, and you need to accept that my body needs rest at this moment. But then there are the other times where you don't want to do it and you need to say, no, you need to do this. And you have to remember. So, again, where we're saying like everybody seems to have a piece of it, like
Yep.
every thought that you have creates a chemical in your body.
Mhm.
It's firing your DNA and all of its energy. And it's good. So we want to put it all together. You can't say get up and then get up and have 1,000 negative thoughts, right?
Or be,
So we have to also deal with that shadow as well.
or be, yeah, be, that's where sometimes it's like we have to hear if we're being hard on ourselves or not. Right? Because sometimes you can use really good tools, but to your own detriment because you overdo it. Or you're not really listening that, oh no, today I actually do need to rest. Or like this today I got home and I'm like, nope, I need to do my 30-minute meditation and I need to do it right now. And then I can do the rest of my day because I knew like I'm trying to integrate something and move something. And you get to understand that. And what people don't understand is that this thing here where your brain is the biggest block between your connection to source and the rest of your body.
Mhm.
This is what, like in here, this is what actually blocks you from bringing in all that energy to rejuvenate your body. Because we have all these thoughts and then we project those thoughts onto our body or out into the world.
The belief structures and the stories that we hold in files, in filing drawers, in our brain pan, that loop, that mental energy that keeps us stuck in our heads, requires discipline to break those loops. It's like the hamster in the hamster wheel that keeps going around and around and around and thinks it's going somewhere. That's what all the stories do. And this is why actually having a physical discipline is so important, because if you don't have a physical discipline of some kind, a physical practice, even again, as I said, like walking, even something so simple as walking, if you don't have something that regularly pulls you out of your head and gets you connected to your body, you'll never understand the depth of wisdom that you actually hold in your heart, in your body, as who you really are. You need to clear those and break those associations, all the mental and emotional investment in those stories. That doesn't mean getting rid of them or getting rid of your thoughts. That's not how it works. It means removing the ego attachment, removing the dependence, the emotional codependence on those stories. And this is why we get codependent with people outside of us, is because we get codependent with our own stories, and then we go and find people that will reinforce that codependence and keep us looping all those stories and not actually feeling who we really are.
Right? Addiction, kind of the same.
Oh, absolutely. Yes, absolutely. It's an addiction. And
yeah.
it's very hard to break the addiction. Like all addictions, it takes practice, it takes patience, and it takes commitment.
Yep.
But
And I think too, like this is really getting to know yourself.
yeah,
Like you become your best friend.
yeah.
You are the only one inside your body right now. Nobody else is in there.
Are you sure? I have all these people.
Honestly, no, you are the only one that's actually inside your body right now. Now, I could be a medium and I can read your energy. Sure, I can read your energy, but you are still the only one that's actually in there. You have to become your best friend and know yourself like nobody else knows you. And you have to listen to your body. And for many, many years, I kind of fought the premise, the idea that you had to go within. I was like, no, I don't have to go within. God's up there, universe is up there, right? I really fought that because it just was like, no, I have to go out. And there is a space for going out. There is a space for expanding and going out. But I can tell you that some of my deepest insights and meditations and aha moments have come from when I went within. I just had one the other day. It was, I don't even know what happened to me. I was going within and I'm just sitting there and I'm watching everything that's going on in there, and energy is moving. And the next thing you know, I had this entire conversation in a completely different language. Don't even know what it was.
Oh my God.
I don't know what it was. I think it was it's either Egyptian or Atlantean. It was this entire long conversation, complete different language.
As you were talking, I was like, I think it was Atlantean.
Was it Atlantean?
I
Yeah.
think so. Yeah.
So
That's what
that
popped up to me, but
It wasn't
it's
Egyptian.
also your
it was
conversation.
Atlantean. Yeah. So, and it was phenomenal. But my point is, it's because I went within. I didn't get it from out there. Now, there is out there, there's the Akashic records and all of that's out there. But the real stuff is actually in. Every cell of your body is part of source. Every cell of your body is communicating. Every cell of your body is taking in energy and information. It's actually where the answers are.
Yep.
And that's what our goal is to help people, help you do that. Because if you, is what Kellie is trying to say, is that if, you know, what they're trying to say is that if we don't learn to go in and we don't learn to listen to the inside, you will be able to create, but it won't be exactly what you're wanting to create. It'll always be that one step off or something.
Yep.
But when we clear it up, when we clear up the beliefs and we clear up the shadow, and we clear up your intentions and we make that whole connection, then you really start to manifest in the way that you want. You start to create in the way that you really want in your life, or the
Awesome.
way you
That would
desire.
be very useful for me because I did try to manifest certain things, but like you said, that it was off and I didn't know why. Did I do anything wrong? Or it's that my limiting belief, be careful what you wish for too. You know, it's like you might get it, but then how detailed am I imagining it or envisioning it? And to make sure that I have the right emotion, right? Or intention going with it. Because
Exactly.
those two don't work,
Right.
it's like you kind of want to give the universe, you know, a freedom to surprise you. But it, in my thing, I thought it will surprise me that it's going to be more than I imagine, not less. I kind of get feeling that I get less.
But that's also because we don't believe that we're more than what we are. Like, if you have to believe, like, the universe is always listening, but it doesn't want more for you and it doesn't want less for you. It's holding a neutral space for you. It'll give you exactly what you want. But we have to believe that we're more. And that's why I feel so strongly about giving people the tools to understand themselves physically. Like, you have a physical body. What a gift, and to yourself, to master it, to
Mhm.
actually master it, because we have so much more control over our entire body, our entire being, than we have been led to believe, and that that we do believe. And the more you believe that you have control over this beautiful vessel, it's amazing things can happen. And the
So,
universe is just always, it's there. The energy is always there, but it's whether or not we're gonna, you know, are we gonna clear the path to, like, go in there? Because, like, even with when April was saying with, like, Akashic records, like, you can go inside. All of your information is in you and your DNA, like, literally written in your bones. And
what
that's
people,
why I, like, she's talking about her meditation. It's like I had an experience too where I went inside and I asked a question and I got an answer. It might have come from one of my spirit guides, but I was like, but it was me that felt it. I felt it.
so let me explain the why.
Okay.
Why do we honor the solstice? Why do we honor the equinoxes? Because these are gateways. Our sun, our star, is a stargate. It's a star. It is literally an energetic gate directly connected to the central sun and the center of our universe. Every cell in our body has 10,000 times the energy of the sun. Every cell in our body is a stargate. This is why we honor the sun, because the sun reminds us of the power that lies within. And if we do not learn to listen to our bodies, we can never access that energy. We can think about it all we want, but if we do not spend any time mastering our thoughts and mastering our bodies, there is no ascension. There is no evolution, because we stay stuck in our stories. This is why listening to ourselves, as April put it, becoming our best friend, is literally the key to our own evolution. When we learn to physically feel the information, and go inside, we understand that what most people believe are the Akashic records in the astral realm are actually just an echo of the true information that we all hold in every single one of ourselves. This is why you don't need to learn about the Akashic records, because if you go inside and master your thoughts and master your body, you have access to all of the information in the universe. You do not need to go anywhere. You do not need to learn any special courses, although help along the way is always a good thing to give you a different perspective and an educated perspective. And this is why April, Kellie, and I like working together and why we want to bring this to people, is because between the three of us, we have a great deal of all of the pieces. And we understand between the three of us
Yes, you
that
do.
there is a connection between all of the pieces that we hold. And my own personal perspective is of accessing all of that information inside of us and feeling the stars in my cells activate. This is, 35 years, almost 40 years of training in Qigong, which is basically skill with the breath to activate energy in the body. So this is why I geek out about Qigong and why I recommend it to everybody, except people are caught in their stories. They don't want to truly evolve. They want to have their little dream world be better. They don't want to understand how powerful they are, because if they actually understood how powerful they truly are, then there would be no limitations. They would have no fears, and their egos and shadows would have nothing to feed on. So until people look at their stories and understand how they feed their egos and shadows, they can't truly begin to comprehend the depth of wisdom that they already hold in their body, the depth of power that is actually already present and resident and alive in their bodies, regardless of how caught in their stories they are.
Yeah.
So the reason why we honor the solstice is because the star, our sun, is there to provide its own information to remind us of who we are when we feel it bathing our faces, when we are out in the sun. That heat, that warmth is the warmth of the universe trying to wake us up, trying to remind us of how much power we have inside of us, and that there is no escaping it when you stand in the light of the new dawn of the solstice. You can feel it at a cellular level. This is why honoring the solstices and the equinoxes is so important, and has been for hundreds of thousands of years. And
And
that's
you're
the
able
why.
to
It's
sense
really
it.
honoring yourself, your power, right?
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
And those times it is, what do we want to say, more open. It's like you're able to access it easier. But
Yes.
like he is saying, this information, it's already there. It's
Yep.
already in your body. We already have all of it. And, I'm not a master per se at it. I mean, you know, because you can always grow, you can always learn, you can always expand. But our thing is we want to teach you to tap into it because it's there. You just don't know it's there. And you don't know from your body the signs or the symbols or the feeling or the sensation of, oh, that's what this is. Oh, that's what this is. We want you to know that.
Yeah,
So
what
you
kind of
be
language, the information, how to read it, because, you know,
for your body, right?
yeah,
And
because
then,
information, but how do I translate that information? Okay, my knee hurts, right? My knee
right.
hurts. I
But
Practice.
see,
feel
what you've been
on my
practicing
hip.
is fear of all the information, which many people practice fear of the information. So they shut it down, they run, they hide. No, we don't want to shut down, run, and hide.
I used to do that years ago.
Right.
I'll admit that, you know.
We
Yeah.
want to actually, one, we want to have you be aware of it. We want this self awareness. We want you to become aware
Yep.
of it.
Yep.
Where is it? What is it? What does it feel like? What is it doing? And then we want you to look at it, right? And then you get to know yourself when you have this feeling or this sensation, or what does this mean? Like Kellie was saying, she had this feeling like, what is this? This is getting to know your body. I have this feeling, I have this sensation. What's this doing? Type thing.
And the thing about pain is that our conditioning, our story about pain, is to be scared of it. As April said, we run and hide from it.
Uncomfortable.
Yeah, but why is it uncomfortable? Because we've been taught to accept and believe that it's uncomfortable and not look any further.
Just get rid of it. Just get rid of the pain instead of
That's right,
asking
exactly.
why.
Don't listen to it. Don't listen to the pain. It can't tell you anything. It hurts. Except the pain is all, every aspect of every feeling in your body is telling you something. Always.
Mm-hmm.
When I was first learning Bagua, my ankles, my feet, my knees, my hips, my lower back, my spine hurt for 2 years because I was opening up my body. I was releasing tension constantly for 4 years, 5 years easy. My body was learning to adapt to being open, to actually bringing energy up from the earth, actually connecting. And the reason why the lower half of my body hurt so much is because I was so unused to real energy moving in my lower half of my body from the earth up to my heart. And when I stopped fixating, oh my God, this hurts. Oh God, I need painkiller, blah, blah, blah. When I actually sat with the pain, I cried because I realized that I hadn't been listening to myself, that I wasn't accepting of the discipline, of the gift that I was giving myself, that I was still resisting the energy that the earth was offering to me. And I didn't want to accept what that actually meant in terms of how long I had been denying that depth of sensitivity, that depth of wisdom that was just there from the earth waiting for me to actually receive it and accept it.
Well, and I know my body will ache, like if I have to cry, like if I'm trying to release something. And I used to go, oh man, like my body aches. Why does it hurt? Oh, like I don't want to feel like this. And then I went, wait a minute. What happens when I feel this way? And then I cry because I'll figure out something. And then it's like, oh, wait, my body aches when I need to cry. And then I will cry and I'll feel better. Like, I think, was it today or yesterday? I said to you, like, oh, yeah, I need to cry. And you're like, oh, do you want a hug? I'm like, no, I mean, I need to cry, but I can't cry right now. Like,
That
I
was
can't
yesterday.
just turn
Yeah.
it on. I will get there, but like,
It's coming.
but it's
Yeah.
coming. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
coming. But,
So yeah, this is good. This is what we're looking at. Like for me, so I haven't given an example for me. Like me, my energy, it gets heavy. It's almost like a triangle with the I want to say dantians, but it's a downward pull, and it really starts actually from my sternum breastbone, and it goes in a triangle down through my hips. So it's the complete well, it's the middle and the lower energy centers. It's a downward pull is what I get. But I know that from listening to my body. And it's almost like there's a something like that's like pulling me, right? Forward. And I know that now because I have spent time with my body, and I stop and I'm like, okay, what are you doing? What are you feeling? You're being pulled forward. It's like someone's got this fishing line on me and it's pulling down, right? But
Yep.
I know that because I know my body. I know what my body's saying, what it's doing. Then I have to go inside and say, what's happening? What's happening? What has happened? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? Am I telling myself anything? One of my big themes was that things would never end. I would be stuck like this forever. That was one of my big themes. Things will never get better no matter what I do, right? So I would have to look at, where did I get that thing? How did I pick that up? How did I develop it? And then you know, how do I clear that? So these are just some ways that, But the key is that everything actually is in your body. You just don't realize it.
Yep.
It's there. It's learning to read the body. The body is actually the vehicle. It's the computer. It's the data.
It's the temple.
Mhm.
You know where it gets me sometimes when I try to do this. So I hope that workshop will provide the tools, what happens. So I start saying what's wrong with me. It's like it's so many things coming up. It's like it's like, okay, I can't do this. You know, it's just too much. I want to heal, but I forget that in order to heal, you have to be aware and then go. I don't want to kind of go through it. So, like example, stomach, migraines, back pains, hip. It's like when I start, I'm like, oh my God, I don't know where to start.
But do you feel those things all the time? Like all at once? Or
No, right. Let's say right now, for the period of like a month because of my loss of my job and everything, I went through that like a panicky stuckness in my chest, but it's really the stomach that I wake up and it's like it's hungry. There's like a vacuum that is like it's sucking me, and I just am like, oh my God, it's so uncomfortable. I need to eat something, but it doesn't help me. It's just a fear kind of,
Mm,
and stomach is like, I guess, digesting of life. I don't trust the process. I just, so that's where
you have trouble digesting?
there's a lot of my childhood was the stomach. I would, because
Mhm.
my story, right, is that I was forced to eat
Mm.
because food was scarce. So whatever food during socialism in Poland my parents got, you have to sit and eat. Even though as a kid I was not interested. It's like I grabbed something and I just wanted to play. No, you have to sit because it's good for you. So I was, torture. I mean, I can tell the stories right now because I kind of
You're
forget.
being forced to feel, you're being forced to digest something that went against the natural flow of who you were as a child. And again, the current reality that you're dealing with, that you're bringing to yourself, universe is going, you wanted to learn, you asked for this time. So you have to accept the information. It's not pain, it's the information, the energy shifting. This is also the other thing too, in terms of the way we perceive the shift and the transition, is like it's not necessarily what's wrong with you, is like what are you learning right now?
What
What
are
are
you
you
learning?
feeling?
Well, that's what I
There's
was,
not necessarily anything wrong.
yeah, because that's what I was gonna say. Do you actually ask yourself the question, what is wrong with me? Like, do you actually ask that question?
I
Like,
used to. Now it's just more of,
oh,
okay,
good.
feeling it, and I kind of don't want to feel it. I know it's out of that old feelings of fear and what's gonna happen and the panicky stuff and
Hunger, though, Patricia, is loving your body. Eating is loving your body. Eating is actually an act of love and nurturing. So if you're going through all of this and you're hungry, you need to eat. Your body's asking for fuel, for energy.
Mhm.
You
Mhm.
need to eat.
And
But not eating is also a form of control
Yep.
because it is the one thing that you really can't control in a person. You really cannot control how much they actually eat. I mean, unless you just don't provide them with food, you really can't. So that is where we get the anorexia, bulimia, all of that, is because it is actually a form of control, because it's one thing that you really can't force a person to do too much. I mean, there are exceptions to the rules always, but eating is an act of love. It is an act of love. And
yeah,
if your
I
body's hungry,
I'm
like
okay. Yeah,
like
it's
being
just
able to enjoy food, like because it's one of the things that having a physical body it is important is enjoying how you're feeding yourself, like enjoying what you put in. And also learning how to listen to your body also means that you'll know what you need fuel wise and when. because you're not going to need the same thing all the time, especially if you're doing this kind of work and you're doing this inner work, is that you are going to have those times where, wow, I need a cheeseburger. Like,
Yep. Yep.
and it's not bad for you because you're not going to eat like 10 of them every day. But in
That's right.
that
Yeah.
moment, your body's like, it needs something. If you're
Yeah.
craving something, it doesn't necessarily mean it's a bad thing.
That's right.
It means that
And
there is something that
yeah,
your body needs and is trying to tell you, excuse me, I need something.
yeah, exactly.
Because when
And
you're
you're
shifting energy,
processing, yeah, you're like you're processing through these emotions of pain, and your body's needing the fuel. Like, you need it. I had one of my kids was anorexic when she was around 15ish, and I went and had all of us go do, it was shortly after my brother committed suicide. I had all of us go do full body acupuncture, and we left the office, and my daughter's like, "Can we have Burger King? I need Burger King." And she looked at me and she goes, "You did this on purpose to me." And I was like, "I didn't do anything. I just took you. Your
yep,
body is starving.
yep,
Your body needs food and fat.
yep.
So we're going to Burger King." So I'm just saying, and Kelly can say what he was saying. Eating is an act of love. And
Yep.
this is a part of listening. Like, I've been craving sugar this week. I do not ever crave sugar. I don't eat sugar. I don't like candy. I don't like cake. I don't like chocolate. I don't drink coffee. I don't drink pop. I don't eat sugar. But this week I've been wanting, my body wants sugar. So
Mm.
I'm gonna give it some sugar. I had some tea and honey. I'm like,
Yeah.
right?
When you are truly processing, like honestly, Patricia, I have apples and celery on the nightstand next to my bed
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. You should see
because I
the,
move so much energy all the time, and I'm helping everybody in the house move energy. I will wake up 5 or 6 times in the middle of the night when we are moving mountains of karmic stories, and I will get up and I will be hungry because of how much I am energetically digesting, and I will need food in the middle of the night because I wake up. I've had like a full meal right before bed. I wait an hour or two sometimes to digest. I think I'm fine. I fall asleep for an hour and I'm bang wide awake, like bolting out of bed, going, "Oh my God, I am starving."
Oh
yeah.
my goodness, that's incredible. I did not know that. That might be just
So
It's
because of that.
on that
still your
note,
body talking to you. Yeah.
I'm gonna be really, really direct with you. Forget absolutely everything the medical medium says. Stop doing the medical medium protocols. You need to go back to, and Joe Dispenza's magic hour of meditation is nothing but BS. I've done that. Stop controlling your experience. Stop imposing other people's stories on your experience. Go and have a burger, go and have a pizza. Learn to enjoy food. Stop using it as a control mechanism
So
because feeding yourself is an act of self-love where you can literally give to yourself a joyful experience that actually feeds your heart and helps you digest all the information, all the energy that you are feeling.
I really appreciate you saying it. However, eating with medical medium recipes, which I absolutely love, and
Mhm.
I was an act of love for myself because the old diet, with a lot of bacon, a lot of I tried, because it was never because of body weight. It was just the way I grew up because it was always in Poland, a lot of kielbasa, a lot of pork, a lot
Yeah,
of
half my
stuff,
family's German. I get
lard.
it.
And I honestly, I couldn't eat. Like, I was constantly, the fat, I guess, was like, so it was almost like when he came up and you and Poonam suggested something about that, it almost like, yes, it wasn't even forced. It wasn't a control. It was just like a gift.
Okay.
that really helped me. And the celery juice and lemon water
Sure.
and the,
Yep. It's
Well,
it's good. It's good to experiment, but I'm just cautioning you in terms of the control of controlling your reality and the story about things being good and bad, especially with food, especially
that's true. I get attached now to different things, and I try to like in the office when everybody was ordering pizza, I said, oh, well, you know what? I'll just take the cheese off because that's fat. But I love the bread. I love the bread. This is like being Polish. You like
oh
bread
yeah,
is
oh yeah,
okay,
yeah.
well,
different.
and
Just have
So
the
I
whole
ate it,
pizza.
and then I got sick. I honestly
Mm,
just like it's like it didn't
not used
feel
to the
good.
gluten.
So I don't know if it was mental that I kind of punished myself. That I didn't figure out because why would a piece of it's like I was not allergic to gluten ever, but I haven't been eating for 2 years and I
Yep,
really
yep,
gluten.
That's fine.
yep,
That's
So
fine.
maybe that
exactly.
was a
Yeah,
shock.
yep.
Yeah.
well, and it's not to say that there's a place for that. Like there's sometimes when I'm processing a lot, like the only thing I can have is broth. I'll have soup. Like for 2 weeks when I was detoxing the last month, I had soup. I made soup like 5 times, like and big pots of it because the rest of my family eats it. So, you know, I just wanted soup. I was just make soup, make soup, make soup.
Stuff is good.
And and then and then I'm like, "Oh, I feel like I can eat this now." And I just kind of listen because it's not and I do the celery juice, but I also eat a lot of celery too. I mean, the one thing about having the celery on the nightstand is that he saves all the middle pieces for me because I love the middle the best. So but yeah, we've got apples. I find half apples like everywhere. But anyway, that's another thing.
Well, I got one stuck
Yeah.
in my car. There.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's right. That's right.
I had to go get a fork to get that one out.
Yeah, it fit perfectly in the cup holder, and
No,
I
He
like
did.
yeah, so like there's a
had
place for it, like when you're doing things, but it's also that sometimes we can like overdo that because
yeah,
you don't need to be detoxing all the time. It's actually
absolutely.
not good for our body to be detoxing all the time because we need a break too. Because especially
Exactly.
when you're doing this kind of work, when you're detoxing emotionally, it takes energy. And the emotional detox also comes along with physical detox. So, and then if you're actively, so that's why it's just so important to listen
Yep,
because quantumly too, our bodies actually need protein and fat.
yep.
Now, what I need is different than what Patricia needs and everybody else that's listening. And so that's why I never say, don't do this, because if it feels good to someone and it's making them feel good, then okay. I just always like, if it's hurting you, then, and I'm not saying you to anyone in particular, but I'm always thinking that because I've hurt myself doing things that I think are good for me because, you know, I've been listening to someone else.
Yep.
But I've learned how to listen to what my body needs. So I know like for 2 weeks, it was like, I just want soup. And I just kept making chicken soup over and over again.
That's
And
very
eating
true.
it.
That's
So
incredible. I tried the keto diet, and after 3 days, I almost like I fainted almost. So it's like
Yep.
everything was against me, even though there was the whole theory around it. And I was like, let me try. It's like, no, with this diet, it's just I'm actually like smiling, cooking it, and happy, even purchasing, the happy fruits, and it's just so. But Kelly is right that you just watch that you're not again forcing something and controlling and making the mental
And I'll,
attachment.
I'll 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 qualify my statement where a lot of his information is good, except it's his personal opinion and his personal research for himself that I know from his early days before he was really popular, he was quite um, adamant about how this was his own personal experience and that this stuff is what worked for him. And I know a lot of people who sort of really recommend him because they've never done any research on health or nutrition.
Mm,
And this guy isn't a trained nutritionist. He's not a
right.
doctor, right? So, and I know from the way some people talk about the medical medium and use his protocols, that they're using it to control their reality and are actually stressing their body out, which sometimes happens and is demonstrated by people's hair turning white because the adrenal glands are so stressed out because they're detoxing all the time. So when we're actually detoxing energetically, you don't necessarily want to be detoxing physically, because when you're detoxing
That's the
healing
key.
energetically,
That's the key.
you
You
need the
need,
fats, you need the salts, you need the oils, you need all those things that are going to support your nervous system and feed and fuel the calories that you need to actually be able to detox energetically, emotionally, and
thank
mentally.
you. Thank
So
you,
it's the
because
same thing.
I was exhausted and I didn't know why. And I was hungry, but it's like, I didn't want to eat. So
So what about fasting? Now going the opposite way.
Oh,
When they talk about how healthy fasting is, and
Well, it is
after
actually. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
after 48 hours, it starts getting eating all the toxins out of your muscle or fat tissues and the brown fat, and I mean they
fasting is
just go
different.
on and on and on.
Kellie, you want to go? You're
Oh,
going to say
I was
something?
gonna say, like, fasting is good for you.
Mhm.
And I kind of naturally do it. Like, I'm not a breakfast person. Like, I don't like to get up and eat first thing in the morning. So usually, like, my breakfast will be like 10 a.m., maybe 11. So I've gone like a good, like, over 12 hours. And there was actually, was it a video, Kelly, or what were we reading? Like, there was a lady who was saying that if you can actually do a 24-hour fast, like once a week for a, like, I don't, it wasn't a long period of time, but that you actually can regenerate yours, like the cells in your
Your
stomach
stem
and
cells
stuff
and your
like
telomeres.
that,
Yep.
because
Yep.
you've given yourself a break. So that's why I try to, if I'm not hungry, but then there are days where I've been processing a lot and I get up and it's like 8 a.m. and I'm like, I need some food. Like, I have to put food in, like, right now. So it's, I do the fasting. It is good to give your body a break. And that's what I mean. Like, when I made soup for 2 weeks, that's pretty much like, because it's easy to digest, and it was homemade. So, and cooking for me is also a way to physically process, because it keeps me physically busy. So it's productive in like a good way for me without, being in my head. So, it serves a lot of different things. Now, if you don't have time to make your own soup, you can buy your own soup. It's not a,
Yep.
you know, but
but
sometimes
Well,
like just
when you
broth, gives your
prac-
digestive system a chance to relax.
when you practice the qigong, like the movement,
Yeah.
what's about the eating? Do you eat prior? Like, do you take, like an hour? You eat hour before you do qigong, or you do qigong in the morning when you are not? How does that work? That would be actually interesting, because
well, this is where listening to the body is really, really important. Um, when I used to practice every morning, first thing I would have some. So fasting is great. I've done a lot of fasting with the master cleanse, which is the cayenne pepper, maple syrup, and lemon, fresh squeezed lemon. I've done that a lot. It works really, really good because
I love that
cleans
ingredients.
your blood, cleans your organs. The maple syrup keeps your blood sugar from crashing, and the lemon juice keeps your pH balance, or neutralizes and alkalizes your pH balance in your digestive tract. I will usually eat, if I'm going to train qigong first thing in the morning, I will usually have something super light, like an orange or an apple, first thing in the morning. And with some of my systems that I've trained in, like the medical qigong, I have to wait an hour after eating, do my qigong, and then wait an hour because of how powerful it is. And
Kelly, do you ever skip that, or do you want that orange or that first thing in the morning?
sometimes,
Yeah, I mean,
uh,
so are you forcing yourself if you're not hungry? Are you forcing yourself to?
actually, yeah, like even a piece of toast, like something, because One of the things that happens is
get the metabolism started, maybe.
exactly because that gets the fire in the belly, the chi in the stomach going. So you don't want to do qigong on a completely empty stomach. I've done it. It's not fun. It's you can do it in a pinch when you need to, but it's not the optimal. You want to have something, even if it's just a piece of toast, to get that fire in the belly because then your chi starts moving, your blood starts to warm up from the digestion. And this is why you want to have something in your system, even just a little bit, but not too heavy, not too full of stomach, because if your stomach's too full, then all your chi is going to go right to digestion and you're going to feel sluggish. And like the times I've done that when I've had a full belly, it's rough. It can be like really rough. And you feel like
Yeah.
you're pushing through molasses in January
Well, it's
walking
like any
uphill.
exercise, right? Like nobody eats a full meal before. Like you might have a snack before you go work out at the gym. Same thing. Like the other night, there were three of us that we trained Bagua together, and we had a bit of food, and and it was getting late, and I was like, I
Yeah.
was like, okay, guys, like I know that like everyone's hungry, but if I don't train now, I can't try. It's getting too late for me in the day. So we actually like had a little bit of food and then
Yeah,
did.
that's why I only ate half my supper because okay, if we're gonna go and train, then let's go and do it now because I haven't eaten so much that my stomach is too full. Like you learn that space.
I see you catching up on Pooning a lot.
Sorry?
I see you catching up on Pooning a lot. You got that bowl going on in the
Yeah,
background.
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
So-
So what we were talking about, Hugh, is we were talking about the workshop we're doing in a couple weeks, and we were trying to explain like what we're going to go over and teach in 2 weeks. So it's a little over 2 weeks. And then one of the main things is, teaching you how to listen to your body and how all the information is in your body and how to know that. And then working with your shadow, working with your thoughts, your emotions. We have some other things that we were going to do, but we wanted to give like very practical tools that
Yep.
everybody could use in their life. Some physical
We're gonna
things
have a
that Kel-
handout this time that'll go out after the
Yeah.
workshop.
And Kelly's
have-
they're gonna show us some actual physical things to help with this because we can talk and talk and talk, which is awesome. I mean, we'll talk forever, but we want you to use it in your daily life.
Yeah, integrated, like you
We want
said.
it to be very practical, not super difficult. But the key is, and that's how we got on the body, was listening to the body, and then about the food, and if your body's hungry, you need to eat.
It's interesting because I mean I'll go through like the sugar. I used to get the sugar tooth at night, and then that went away. I go through all these different. It's a revolving door right now for some reason. I don't know why, um, but where I was going to just take a minute on the protein and nutrition, not to throw you off here, but I got to know because I mean this is what they told me like in the hospital. I didn't realize, but it's a gram of protein for your body weight, divide it in half, and that's how many grams of protein. Do you guys stay to that, or is that what you?
I
No,
don't weigh
no.
my food or measure it, or I kind of eat like what I feel like I need kind of thing.
Yeah,
Yeah, no,
I
I just,
listen. Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah.
I
I'll
listen to
drink
my
the
body.
protein
I've
drinks.
heard of that, and I can't really speak to that because I don't, follow that specifically. But oh, okay. Yeah.
From my years of powerlifting and bodybuilding, Hugh, what they've told you in the hospital is just pure maintenance only. If you are actually, and this is the other thing too, doing light work, doing actual healing work requires more nutrients, more minerals, and more protein because your body uses the protein to repair and heal itself at a cellular level for everything.
That is true.
So my maintenance is basically 1 gram of protein for every pound of my own weight.
That's a lot.
I've
But
been
okay,
using,
but let's clarify what that
Yep.
means for you specifically, because
because
you have protein shakes throughout the day,
I do.
not necessarily talking like eating a steak.
Oh no. Yeah. I've been using
Let's
protein
clarify.
drinks for
You're
like 30
eating
years.
200-pound steaks. Right.
That's
A
a
lot of
cow.
steak
Right
there,
now
but
you're like,
I'm game. Come on.
Yeah, I
Um,
mean, that's still, I mean, the calories, you got, even doing that, it's gotta be over 3,500 calories.
oh yeah, my maintenance is about 3,600 calories, 3,700 calories a day. I'm like 210 pounds.
Kelly works out a lot though. Like he's
Yeah, I
Yeah.
seen him in the mall, doing
yeah.
the,
Yeah.
that was pretty cool.
Yeah.
I was look
I
relaxing.
listen to my body. I listen. I'll have times where I'm like, you know what, I need a steak.
Yep.
And today
Yep.
my daughter's like, what do you want to eat? I said, I'd like a really nice burger, real meat. I would like a real burger, not nothing frozen. And then I'll have weeks where I will eat salad, just salad,
Yep.
weeks of
Yep.
salad, vegetables. I mean, I'm always having vegetables, carrots, celery, that kind of stuff. But
there is
I really listen to my
protein.
body.
There's protein in vegetables.
Yep.
There's a
There's-
lot of protein in
It's
leafy
nuts.
green.
What about supplements? Anybody doing supplements?
Yep.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
I do.
Sure.
Yeah, I do supplements.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
Okay.
and
When,
that's
when
where you
you're
have to
actually
take,
doing real healing work, your nervous system needs more minerals and specific things like L-glutamine, which your body uses for everything, is probably one of the supplements that I recommend the most and have recommended the most because your body uses it as the cornerstone building block for absolutely every function in the body.
Helps
So
with the stomach too. I found that because I was trying to rebuild the lining of my stomach. So that's how I found that L-glutamine.
oh
That's
yeah,
how I initially
yep.
found it, was it
Yeah, it's
helps to
really good for
rebuild the
gut health.
lining.
Yep.
Yeah.
Why were you doing
So-
that, April? April, why were you doing that?
Because I had stomach issues. I had really, really bad stomach issues after my brother.
Reflux, you mean? Like reflux or?
No, actually, it wasn't even reflux. I've never had acid reflux. I think only once. It's pomegranate. Pomegranate gives me instant like heartburn. Otherwise I've never had it. I don't really fully know, except for it was after my brother's suicide, and I literally couldn't eat anything. I could not eat or drink even a sip of water. My stomach would bloat up, like it would be, couldn't eat nothing. I was just, and it didn't matter what I ate. It was everything. So I started to look into like, okay, well, maybe my stomach's upset, and then maybe I have a leaky gut. And so then that's how I found the L-glutamine.
Maybe you had like me, H. pylori, that under stress they would just flourish and just.
I could have had it, and maybe I
destroy
got
the
some
lining.
food that had E. coli, but really it was inflammation due to the loss of my brother. It was where, plus stomach issues run in my family genetically, but it was me holding on to, I had 3 kids. I was a single mom. I was working. I was going to college, and I was trying to keep it all together. And I had this huge suicide right.
That was a
So
lot.
it has to go somewhere. It always goes in the body. If you don't deal with the emotions, with the energy,
Yep.
it's
Doesn't
going
it come-
to do
doesn't it-
something.
Doesn't it come out as like cortisol?
Yes, cortisol. Well, all different kinds of hormones and
yeah, cortisol is made by the liver.
Stress.
Yeah, I mean high levels of cortisol, and then that triggers the inflammation. The way I'm
by the
understanding it.
kidneys. Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
are you guys doing any kind of technique to lower that in this course?
well, I mean, the qigong that we do and some of the things that we're going to do does help because when when you regulate your nervous system, you actually relax the adrenal glands, and then you can balance all of that out. Now it also, you have to practice regularly too, right? Like, so
Which
there's
is
that, like, we can give tools to people, but people have to use them.
Yep.
Right?
Yeah,
The
that's.
reason
I
I
can have
asked,
a toolbox, but you actually have to take them out and do them.
yeah, the reason I asked, I was just watching this thing online about lowering your cortisol levels. They they want you to stand with your hands at your hips for 2 minutes straight. Did you see that or no?
Yeah, that's
We're just talking
Not
about
laughing,
standing
April.
still.
This is serious.
You know what? It just Kelly's face. I'm just like, ah. But
it's
you
the
know what?
Superman
Before
pose.
Kelly, yeah, but before Kelly explains this, the workshop is meant to hit that area, but also on a deeper level, because like we were saying earlier, you have to realize that every thought that you have, every emotion that you have is affecting your entire vessel. And these beliefs that you're holding, your shadow patterns that you're holding, it's affecting the entire body, which will give you more cortisol, more inflammation. It will give you all of these things. So it's really like a whole entire, like that is our goal. Our goal is to help you be well emotionally, mentally, and physically, and
Yep.
spiritually as well, like the whole package. So, but our goal was to add in some actual physical activities that you could do, but actual tools that you can use, which will lower your cortisol overall.
That's brilliant. Yes, it
Yep.
needs to be physical and mental and spiritual
Without
all together.
like, we're not asking you to go run a marathon. Like Kelly has his bone washing, which
Earth
is
Mineral
very
Washing.
simple.
Yep.
Oh, bone marrow washing, sorry. And then he showed me Phoenix Rising one day. That was super simple for balancing energy. Super simple.
Right.
You know, because a lot of our energies are not balanced. Our emotions are not balanced. That is a super simple exercise that, you know, we can show you guys, and
We'll add
it
that
takes
to
a
the
few
list.
minutes.
Yep.
It's
Yeah,
just a few
well,
minutes.
we can cover the Earth Mineral Washing and breathing again because it basically mimics like that whole posture. I saw that little TED talk and I was just like,
Is it the guy with glasses?
yeah,
Oh yeah, I know. I saw that one too. That's what prompted me to write the blog post that Patricia's talking about
That's what it is.
standing steak,
so this is
because
the
I
Yeah,
was
posture.
like,
that's it.
that's
That's
standing
it.
steak right there.
That
But
chin
yeah,
breathing is this,
yeah.
right? So
Right.
the thing that guy doesn't understand is that if you just have the hips, hands on the hips, you're returning all of that chi to the Dan Tian.
And the fists are closed.
And the fists are closed.
Yeah.
And you're not returning it to the body. Sure, you can open up the spine and it'll help open up the chest, and so it releases tension,
Yeah.
which is what that posture does, which is why it lowers cortisol. I'm going, well,
Yeah.
me, I'm
Yeah.
like, duh.
Putting your hands on your kidneys would actually help
Yes,
you even more.
More.
exactly.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Did
So
he,
those
did
Look,
he
look
say
like
so
the guy.
anything
About unlocking your joints, like you say, you know, to have the chi flowing, to unlock the joints and do the like the horse.
if you sit in the horse stance and hold your dantian or have your hands on the back of your kidneys, that
Yeah,
will do.
we'll talk about that
We'll
at the
talk about it.
workshop. We're gonna
Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there's
we've
not
got a
there's nothing tense. It's like this guy was ready to wear a mouthpiece. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where you guys, like
Yeah.
April said, you open hand and I got you.
that pose actually, it's interesting because that pose is a pose that they will use in what's called NLP, neuralistic programming, which I have taken, and they will tell you to do that pose to boost confidence. So it is not a
The
cortisol
power
lowering.
power pose. Yeah.
It's not
Yes.
actually, yeah,
It's
yeah,
more
It's
of a
it's an NLP
mental,
trick.
like,
yeah,
It's a
yeah,
neural trick
yeah.
to convince the body that you're in a position of power, which causes the cortisol to lower because it tricks your nervous system to believe that you're okay.
Yeah. Well,
that's
yeah,
what we're gonna
I guess,
do.
you
We're
know
gonna
what?
trick
You're
you all
right
into
with that.
thinking
That
you're
is
okay.
true. Yeah,
Just
I can see that that is true. But to me, it's more
Versus the
intense
Dantian
than it is
breathing and the earth
relaxing.
mineral washing, which is actually about regulating and reconditioning and rewiring your nervous system and your entire body. Instead of
Right.
tricking it, Qigong is about giving yourself a whole new normal.
Yeah.
Out.
And there's also, I think, Kelly, you think there's something to say, you guys, about where do you normally place your hands when you are in stress versus when they are in stress or he's in stress? Like for me,
Absolutely.
you know, I will tend to naturally put my hands on the back of my hips, right? At the lower back when so it's something about, but where do you tend to put your hands when you get stressed? Are you doing this? Are you like where? So that's another piece of kind of
Yeah.
getting to know your body.
Yep. Understanding body language. Go and look up body language. Julius Fast wrote some really good simple books on it. It's where I sort of first started cluing into the relationship between my nervous system and nonverbal communication and the qigong postures that I was going through with the 8 pieces of brocade and everything else that I was learning. Since then, since learning about body language and what that does to the nervous system, I was just like, oh, well, of
Yeah.
course, this just makes all sorts of sense because
But it could
everything's
also be,
Do you have
yeah,
a do you have a de-escalating stance? In other words,
yes.
if there's a zone between from your belt to your to here, and if you use hand movement in here, then you're the guy in charge. If you go powerless, nothing, then you're not the guy in charge. I don't know. It's just like you said, body language. I didn't I didn't know, but April said, "What do you do in your stressful situation? Where do you put your hands besides in
Mhm.
your pants?"
So there's another thing about qigong too.
That's a different workshop altogether.
That's a
That
whole
yeah,
other different workshop.
yeah,
Um, when you spend enough time rewiring your body, you erase the anxiety programs, you erase the fear programs, you
yeah,
reprogram your reptilian brain so it has no leverage. So you do
right.
not respond to flight, fight, or fear
Mhm.
or freezing. You step into
Yeah,
observation and you're still energetically.
yes,
I
And
love that. Oh my goodness.
absolutely.
That's
That's
like,
absolutely true. Mm,
oh,
yep,
so this is
that's a
this
good
is what
point.
geeks me out about qigong is that you can utterly, completely rewire your entire nervous system, your entire body, and change the chemical balances and the chemical triggers themselves that your nerve ganglions would usually respond to, because this is what qigong does. You can actually look it up. The research proves that the nerve ganglions, the receptors change. They no longer receive the hormones of fear because you've retrained them and rewired them so much.
Now, isn't that coming from the amygdala in the
Yeah,
brain?
the amygdala, the hypothalamus, and all that. Yeah, all back there.
so in
All
other
of
Totally.
that
words,
stuff
if
because
you, if,
it's right at the base of the skull, right at the
Mhm.
top of the spine. When you regulate your blood flow, your lymph flow, and you open up your spine and you relax your fascia in your body, it rewires everything. It changes absolutely everything over time.
Hmm.
so Kelly, if
Everything.
you go to for a walk in the woods and there is bear running after you, you won't have the like the flight,
I
fight.
won't have the normal fear response. No,
you're still gonna want to run though.
yeah,
Yeah.
or get big and loud depending on what kind of bear it is. I've actually
Mhm.
had
Oh,
dogs
damn
come at me downtown
it.
where I live, and I just go at them, and they're startled because their instinct is that they're the aggressor. So when they have someone who responds in a way that is outside of their programming, that shocks their system because it doesn't fit into their instinctual aggression.
Mm.
I'm like, and especially when I used to live with my friend who's paraplegic. That's one of the things that where he's like, hey, I want to go for a walk, but there've been some dogs around. Can you come and like make sure, I just want to get to the forks or whatever. I'd do it, no problem. I've got nothing else to do. And a couple times we had dogs come at us, and I was just like,
Have
Sean
you
like
had
looked at
any?
me like,
Growled at them and
Hey, Cal, have you had anxiety before? True anxiety?
when that's a really hard. I mean, yes, but no, because I know who I am. I adopted a lot of stories of anxiety that my family used as common ground to communicate.
Talking about like a panic attack. I mean, really freak out.
I used to have asthma that almost killed me on a regular basis.
Well, that would probably do it.
So,
As how about everybody else here? I mean, just curious. I mean, if
I I had panic attacks
So
and anxiety.
so,
I I normally now I'm really not an anxious person and I don't tend to have anxiety. Um the only time I really will get anxiety is when it's related to my children and if they're either hurt or ill or going to be hurt or ill. That is the only time. Prior to that, I used to get anxiety when I was married to my first husband because my first husband would leave some point during the day, 9, 10 in the morning, maybe it was 1 in the afternoon, and he would never come home. He was out partying and getting drunk and high. So I would have anxiety about him pulling in the driveway.
Mm.
And it would be like a panic attack. It would be like anxiety panic attack that because my, and it stopped when I realized like, so my thing was, I was going to, mind you, I was forced to get married at 15 years old. So, I was
Wow.
going to fight with him and why were you out? And you have a family and you should be home and you should, and then the minute that I realized that you can't control anybody else's addiction, you can't get them to stop, you're not going to make him stop drinking. The minute I gave that up, the anxiety left. That doesn't mean I don't get stressed though, because there's also people with anxiety, but they're high functioning. They have anxiety, but they're high functioning, where they put a lot on themselves. So they're stressed, and it's actually a form of anxiety, but it looks like they're just working all the time.
Yeah.
Right. So it doesn't mean
Yeah.
I don't have stress. I do have stress, and I have to say, driving with my teenage daughter, it produces
Yeah.
a lot.
I hear you on that. Yeah.
But I have this, it's not that I don't ever cry, but I have this uh unique, I kind of like it. Like when I am at that stress level where I can't handle it, I will actually start laughing hysterically to the point where I can't stop, which is the same action as crying. But I literally, my kids will say something and I'll be like, that's it. Here it comes. I'm going to lose it. And I will and I will just be laughing so hard. Tears are rolling. Oh, I kind of like that better than crying. But that
It's the same
is
energy.
anxiety.
Sounds scary. I mean,
As
if you're in
yeah.
my if you're at my house, you start laughing uncontrollably for nothing, I'd be like, oh shit, what's going on?
Well, now you
Fair,
know, but
fair.
you'd be laughing too because you'd be like, "What? She has lost
I'd
it.
be
She's
going couch gun.
yeah,
Okay.
So yeah, I
Well,
mean,
You think I'm bullshitting?
okay. Well, we have been on now for over an hour and a half, and I absolutely love this conversation.
Yeah.
But I think we gotta, because we also have to upload it and all that kind of stuff. So
Mhm.
we're gonna plan to do another one of these. So thank you everyone for joining us who's
Yeah.
here tonight and who's gonna watch it again. And we hope that you sign up for our workshop coming up.
Yes.
And the
Sunday,
workshop's on the
March
17th, right? On the 17th.
17th. Yeah.
Yes.
And how long does it go for? I'm
Everybody
sorry.
there. The
We
more
put it
the
for-
merrier.
We put it for 2 hours, so I'm not sure what time zone it's 1 to 3 or 12 to 2. Usually it does run a little over because we pack in so much stuff in there. So it does usually run a little bit
Is it
over.
going to be a repeat after that?
The repeat as far as you
It's
will
just,
get
it's just going to be one workshop and that's it? Is that what you're saying?
for
working
no
on a
for this one, we're
series.
we're definitely
working on a
doing
series.
more.
Yeah. We're gonna do another one probably in June around the
Yeah,
solstice time, just because it's easy for us to plan around those things right now.
Yeah,
And
but
we're
we have
planning a
an
longer course, but that
right.
we were actually doing that one and gonna offer it, and then we went, there's some, we want to really make this good, so let's do
Yeah.
something a little smaller. We'll do smaller chunks, and then we'll make that one.
Together.
Yeah, so we'll probably
Yeah.
do another one in a few months, but we
Yeah.
are actually in the background, we are creating an actual course.
Yeah.
With all the things that we just talked about, of
Yep.
putting it in, okay, we're going to learn this, then we're learning this, and incorporating all of these concepts into it.
Is that what that CD was all about? That CD that you had made, Kelly?
Oh, the CD that I had made was that was for the 8 Pieces of Brocade. One of the first attempts I had at actually selling a course, and the Caucasian people, the non-Asian people, non-Qigong people, non-martial art people that were doing the course for me misspelled a whole bunch of things.
Oh my
And they didn't,
Sorry. Oh, that was a good first try.
Yeah.
Definitely put you
Yeah.
you
on.
know,
Well, we have a web app now.
yeah.
So, I mean, we have a lot of
Yeah, so
physical.
we actually have the 8 pieces of
But I-
brocade, the standing stake, and the earth mirror washing qigong in our app that you can purchase, that you can buy and do them individually.
That's incredible. I have to look into it.
So there will be more. We plan on teaching this more in depth and teaching as a course, as a series,
Yeah.
because it's a lot. And I just
Yes.
like this conversation tonight, we're already at almost 2 hours. We were supposed to just jump on and
We're just gonna
you know,
do an hour and then
yeah, that happens with us. We're
yeah,
just
we talk a lot.
Well, and the
We-
reason I asked earlier about the anxiety with everybody, really what I was going for is like, did you actually see an improvement in yourself? I mean, I imagine you have.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I don't have
No more
anxiety
asthma, no more anxiety for decades.
Yeah. I
I
sleep.
have stress because like I said, I'm literally teaching a teenager to drive right now. I do have stress, right? But I don't have anxiety, and I don't respond to situations the same way. I don't get that fearful response at all. I mean, you just learn, and that's one of the things that we want to teach you is you learn how, like Kelly was saying, you actually cope with the event or situation in a different manner. It's
It's gonna
not
be
the
good.
same.
All right,
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah. Because the thing is, you're never going to completely eradicate stress from your life.
Right.
Because there's always going to be stuff, and your nervous system just instinctively has a way to cope with it and react to it. What our chronic problem is the chronic stress, where we never get to calm our nervous system down. And that's
Right.
where we start to create disease in the body. So
Mhm.
that's what we're doing, is giving people the tools that, hey, you have an option. You don't, just because this stressful thing is happening, here's how you can breathe. This is what you can physically do. These are the things, so that you have tools to deal with the situations, because
Right.
you can't control what life is going to throw at you all the time, but you can control how you react to it.
Sure.
And that's the key, how long you stay in that stress mode, because
Yeah.
Yeah.
if you don't go back balance into the state when your body can repair and relax, then it's you heading for disease, right?
Yeah.
And these are tools that you can use. So even if, let's say, you kind of fell back into your old pattern for a minute, you would be in there for much less time, like a minute, and you would go,
Yeah.
oh, I need to do this, this, and this. Like you will have the tools
Perfect.
to recenter yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's our goal.
And then I guess, and then you couple it with like the power of now and stuff. It should be really interesting,
Mhm.
as far as effort goes.
Lots of tools. Yeah.
Well, it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
So you're not a big Eckert fan, Kelly? I can tell.
We've talked about this, and
We've talked
Eckhart
about
is
this
a
today.
is a
Yeah.
good space to start. He is a very good space to start. He's a good light bulb. He's a good eye opener, and he's really good at teaching you what the pain body and the ego is and how to notice the mind. But he's not good at integrating the whole.
This is okay. So this is going right. This is perfect then for me.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, cool.
Woo.
Yeah.
All right. Now I
All
am.
right, guys.
And this,
Thank you.
I thank you everyone for joining us tonight. This is awesome. We'll have to do this again for sure.
Okay.
Well, thank
All
you
right.
so
All right.
much.
All right, good night, everybody.
Night,
see ya.
everybody. Bye.
night.
Thank you.